For 1,500 years, Europeans knew something, with absolute certainty, beyond question. All swans are white. Every philosopher confirmed it, every scientist agreed, every poet wrote it. In the 2nd century AD, the Roman poet Juvenal used it as the ultimate example of something impossible, as rare as a black swan. Meaning, it does not exist. It cannot exist. Everyone knows this. The logic was perfect. Every swan ever seen white. Thousands of observations. Centuries of records. In science, this is called inductive reasoning. You observe many examples. You draw a general conclusion. All swans are white was not an opinion. It was by every standard of knowledge available a fact. The most dangerous kind of fact. The kind you stop questioning because the evidence seems overwhelming. Dutch explorer Willem de Vlamingh sails toward the unmapped coast of New Holland. He is not looking for swans. He is looking for survivors of a shipwreck. On the 5th of January, 1697, his ships enter a river on the southwest coast of what we now call Australia. He names it the Swan River. Not because of what he expected, because of what he saw. Black swans. Not one. Many, de Vlamingh writes in his journal, we saw many black swans. 5 words. The most philosophically significant 5 words in Australian natural history. In that moment, 4,500 years of European certainty ended. Every philosopher who had ever used black swan to mean impossible was wrong. The impossible was standing on an Australian riverbank. Looking back at them.
Now, meet the bird itself. Not the idea, not the philosophy. The actual animal, the black swan, Cygnus atratus. Australia's only native swan, black feathers, red bill with white band, red eyes. It is not a dark version of a white swan. It is a completely separate species, one that evolved in Australia in complete isolation for millions of years, while Europe had no idea it existed.
This is where they live. Western Australia, the southwest corner of the continent. Lakes, rivers, wetlands. The black swan is the most abundant water bird in this landscape. It was never hiding. It was never rare. It was simply on a continent that Europe did not know existed for most of human history. The bird was not impossible. Europe's knowledge was just incomplete. In flight, something changes. The white flight feathers hidden at rest suddenly appear, black and white together, against the Australian sky. The wingspan reaches nearly 2 meters, one of the largest flying waterbirds in Australia. When a flock takes flight, the sound of those wings carries across the entire wetland. A sound de Vlamingh heard on January 5th, 1697, and could not explain to anyone in Europe who was not there. Black swans mate for life. The pair bond begins with a greeting display, both birds facing each other, necks curved inward, forming a shape that humans have always called a heart. This display happens every time the pair reunites. After every separation, every morning, every return from feeding. A daily renewal of the bond. In the same shape. Every time, as if the bird invented the symbol humans use for love before humans existed. The nest is enormous, a mound of reeds built by both parents, sometimes over 1 meter tall, 4 to 8 eggs. Both parents incubate, both parents guard. The male is extraordinary in his commitment. He will attack anything that approaches the nest. Dogs, foxes, humans, a male black swan defending a nest is one of the most physically powerful bird encounters in Australian wildlife. He means it completely. The cygnets ride, gray and fluffy, not yet black. They ride on their parents' back for the first weeks of life, tucked under the wings, warm and safe above the cold water. The same water de Vlamingh sailed into in 1697. The same birds. The same gray chicks becoming black adults. The cycle that was happening here long before anyone in Europe had a word for it. Do not mistake elegance for gentleness. A black swan defending its territory or its family is one of the most aggressive water birds in Australia. Those wings deliver powerful blows. That neck is a weapon. People have been knocked down. Dogs have been driven away. Even small boats have been challenged. The bird that broke Europe's understanding of certainty is also perfectly capable of breaking your composure if you get too close. The black swan did more than surprise Europeans. It changed science. Permanently, philosopher Karl Popper used the black swan as the central example of his theory of falsification. No number of confirmations can prove a theory true, but one contradiction can prove it false. One black swan destroyed 1,500 years of confirmed white swan observations. Science was never the same. The swan did that. In 2007, economist Nassim Nicholas Taleb published a book called The Black Swan. It became one of the most influential books of the 21st century. His argument: the most important events in human history, financial crashes, pandemics, revolutions, are black swans. Impossible to predict. Impossible to imagine beforehand. But obvious in hindsight. The term, born from a bird on a Western Australian river in 1697, now describes how the entire modern world works. But here is what Europe forgot to ask. The Aboriginal peoples of Australia, particularly the Noongar people of southwestern Australia, had known about the black swan for at least 50,000 years. They named it. They drew it. They built their stories around it. The impossible bird was never impossible. It was only impossible to people who had not been here long enough to see it. The lesson was always about the limits of the observer, not the limits of the world. Today, the black swan is the official emblem of Western Australia. On the state flag, on official documents, on the Western Australian coat of arms. The bird that de Vlamingh could not believe that Juvenal used as a synonym for impossible is now the symbol of one of the largest and most prosperous states in Australia. The impossible became the identity. The black swan teaches one thing, the most important thing science has ever learned. Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Just because you have not seen it does not mean it does not exist. Just because everyone agrees does not mean everyone is right. Just because the evidence seems overwhelming somewhere, on a river you have not yet visited, something is waiting to break your certainty completely. The black swan is always out there. We just have not sailed far enough yet. The Swan River, Perth, Western Australia. Today, the same river de Vlamingh entered on January 5, 1697. The black swans are still here, on the same water, in the same numbers, completely unchanged. The city of Perth grew up around them, 1 million people living beside the bird that changed how humans think. Most of them walk past the river without thinking about what happened here. Every evening they gather, as they have gathered on this river since long before the city existed. The same birds, the same water, the same display of black feathers against the golden light. They do not know what they mean to us. They do not know they changed philosophy. They do not know they are on the state flag. They are just swans, gathering at dusk, on the river that broke the world. Every time you are certain about something, remember this bird. Every time you say that's impossible, remember 1697. Every time you think all the evidence points one way, remember that somewhere, on a river you have not yet visited, a black swan is waiting. Not to surprise you, not to prove you wrong, just to exist, as it has always existed, long before you arrive to be certain about anything. The black swan asks for nothing from us, only the river, only the water, only the right to exist on the same river where it has always existed long before we arrived to call it impossible. It did not break European certainty on purpose. It was just here, being exactly what it always was. The most powerful thing any animal has ever done to human knowledge was simply to exist somewhere we had not looked yet. Subscribe for more Australian wildlife stories. This country has been breaking human certainty for 50,000 years. We have barely begun to look.